Hi, and welcome to podcast number 6 of the Knitting Concierge. It's been almost a month since I spoke with you last. It was a very, very busy holiday season here. So I'm sure it was for you as well. So I'm not telling you anything new. But I do have a few finished objects. I have some objects on deck. And I have some little bit of other crafting to share with you. So let's get on with it and let's get started with the new year to begin as we plan to continue. So, as you know, I was working on my Advent socks. I had the Cozy Knitter Advent, in which these are the 24 stripes. 24 stripes. And what I did was I made each sock 24 stripes. And then I put in a heel lifeline that I had learned from Arne and Carlos on the stocking, the Christmas stocking that I made. So, and I kind of like it. It tells me where it's going to go. It tells me what line to pick up because I put that in there. So it wasn't that bad. And she gave us a mini for the heels, toes, and cuffs. But I ended up, because I tend to like shorty socks. Yeah, so you can see it's a pretty shorty sock. I live in Florida. What do you want? I tend to wear shorty socks. It's better than most. A lot of people don't even wear socks here in Florida. You'd be amazed at the places that people show up with no socks and shabby sandals. It just blows my mind all the time. Anyway, so I use this to make the heel. It is a K. Jones Bakery Bears umbrella heel. And that's how it's done. I had a little bit of gaping, a little tiny bit, so I just sewed it in and picked up the stitches and did it. But I think they're almost identical. I thought I did a pretty good job. And they were all done, including heels and putting in or weaving in all the ends by the end of December 31st. There you go. I think this is my very first Cozy Knitter Advent calendar that I actually knit in the year it was supposed to be knit in, and finished it in the year it was in the month that it was supposed to be knit in. So I'm feeling really, really happy. And I took the time and I kind of played with my pattern, because I always use, for most of my socks, I use self-striping. So I'm not putting in a pattern or anything. So I spent a little bit of time. I measured my foot and I got out a sock that I really liked. And I measured how far I went down till I started decreasing for the toe. And it seems that 6 inches is where I should start the toe. I wear a size 9 shoe. So, yeah. And there's usually a 2-inch or so toe. So that makes 8 inches. And then there's the heel. So I guess that's pretty good. Then I had the Kirby Werby 24 Christmas movie striper And this is it. It starts up here. And look at this. I'm not even kidding you. Look at that. She took the freaking time to tie-dye a stripe. Is she insane? It already takes enormous amounts of time. And you want to know why your self-striping yarn is so expensive? Because it takes a lot of time and effort to make a good self-striping yarn. So where you're not getting grossness blended in, nothing touching. There's usually a little bit where some of the pieces will blend, but not here. And then, so I did the same thing. I put in a lifeline for the heel and made my little Kay Jones umbrella heel. I added an extra 4 rows around, because I use I have deep heels. I don't know if that's a thing, but usually afterthought heels don't fit comfortably. But I was reading that if you have a deeper heel, that you could add rounds to it. So I did. I added 4 rounds. Now they suggested 2, 4, or 8 rounds. I added 4, and it seems to do all right. Now I haven't worn these yet for all day. I'll give you some feedback on that later. And then I used this at the end. This sock is obviously much longer than this sock. There you go. By probably 1.25 inches maybe. I always like to do 3 colors or so before I go through in my stripy socks. But I just couldn't get over when I came to this stripe. I squealed. I was like, oh my God, she did it. She did. And you know, Kirby Werby is putting together a 45 striper. I think it's for her birthday, but I'm not for sure. But she is putting together a 45 striper. And Hingston Hand Knits was on there because she also makes self-striping yarn. And she says, she's insane. It's so hard to make all of the stripes. And she's going to go with 20 or 45 stripes. And they're going to be really tiny stripes. So, yeah, Kirby Werby was going to post, I think last weekend or this weekend or on the 1st. But she put it off so that she could put some more colorways into her upload. So I would expect that she's going to do that soon. So keep an eye out. You should follow Kirby Werby. She is hilarious. I follow Hingston Handmaids. I follow Kirby Werby. Yeah, so I really, really enjoyed the bright colors of her colorways. And every stripe was a color representation of a movie, a Christmas movie. And unfortunately, I have tidied up and have thrown that piece of paper away. Sorry. But yeah, I'm really, both socks were done. Now I had to knit them all individually because I didn't have enough zeros. And so I placed an order with 4 pearls, and it came really fast, but I was already almost done with my socks, and I had cast on the last sock by the time I got here. I was flying through these stripes. I just couldn't wait to get to the next stripe. I mean, there were times where I just thought, oh, I'm going to stop after this stripe. And then, I would see the next stripe and I'm like, oh, I need to knit that stripe. And it was so awesome. So, Yeah, one of my classes that I'm taking at VK Live in New York in just a few days. Yes, I'm leaving on the 15th of January and I'll return on the next Wednesday. So one of the things that I am doing is taking a 2 at a time sock class with Mina Phillips from Knitting Expat. So I've always wanted to do that. I mean, I have a book that told me how to do it. And I didn't get it. I'm sorry. You would think I would be able to do that, but I didn't. But I also wanted to show you, this is how much I have left over from the Cozy Knitter. And this is how much I have left over from Kirby Werby. I really think I could make another pair of socks and another pair of socks. And I think I'm going to try to knit a pair of socks. My sister said something about it. She watches this video. So I may or may not. Don't know. But yeah, these are going to be going up in my Ravelry after I post them here. And I'll post them with pictures on my feet on my Instagram and my Facebook page. So the next thing that I got, so those are the only things besides the one hat that I got done for my sister. And I think I got that done in November. I have the next hat on deck. I'm going to whip that out. And then I'm going to send it to her ASAP before I leave for... well, actually, that would make a great... This would make great plain knitting. Yeah. I think I might save this for the plane to New York and back. And then I'll just send them off. That's such a good idea. Oh. See what happens when I talk to you? I get great ideas. And my monthly nature self-striping yarn club came from Knit Spin Farm. And this Knit Spin Farm was hay residue from spoiled sheep. This was the DK Merino one. That's this one. And I get another one. I get the Targhee Sport. The Targhee Sport in here. And then it says, here's the picture. And it says, more hay to waste, please. And more is M-O-A-R. More hay to waste, please. From her sheeps. And it says, I once heard a farmer say her sheep would rather stand over a blade of grass and wait for it to grow than eat hay. Ours are a little more reasonable, but they definitely don't treat their winter feed with the utmost respect. This time of year, our mornings involve laying out enough hay that our sheep and goats get to eat all they need, but not so much hay that they pick through it for the best parts, leaving the rest to be stomped on. And then it had a thing where it has a coupon code because she has Knit Spin Farm, such a great thing. I listened also. She has such a great club. I really love her clubs. She has such great color sense. I can't wait to knit this up. You can also get Cranky Big Bill, which is her husband, to crank sock tubes for you. And you can crank those. I mean, once you get the sock tube, it'll come to you just in a sock tube. And you can put heels, toes, and cuffs in that in no time. I think it costs $10 or $12 to do so. But think about it. I could not do anything else this month other than knit 2 pairs of socks besides work and, you know, holiday festivities. I had no other time, really. And every night, almost every night, I mean, with relative few exceptions, I knit on these 2 pairs of socks. So, yeah. So having a tube is well worth the effort sometimes. If you really want a pair of socks and you want to have a quick gift knit, have them crank it into a tube, and then you have a quick knit. You could make in a weekend or even a day if you wanted to. You could put in the heels, toes, and cuffs to a sock. Granted, you have to measure down. And what I do is I pull the top off until I get down to like 3 or 4 stripes. And then I knit back up and then bind off my cuff. Then I go down to the heel and I measure down and I put in the heel. And then I measure down from there and these are usually for my husband. So I measure down how far he is in the sock. And then I snip it and pull it with a little extra and then put in my toe. So yeah, it's real fast. It's real fast. I've done 2 or 3 pair in a little long weekend in Key West. So you can do it. It's not that bad. And so it is well worth, especially if you give socks as gifts, to have it cranked and stuff like that. So you will need a mini for the heel and toe, but not necessarily for the toe. The cuff and the toe can be made, but the heel will need some kind of a mini, or you'll need to pull off at one end. The only issue I have with that is because I use both ends of the sock. So my socks are mirror images of each other. Actually, they're not my socks. They're my husband's socks, and he doesn't care. So what ends up on the bottom is on the sock, on top of the first sock. So, but you can turn it around. You can start from the other way. As soon as you have it cut on the other side, you could do it on the other side. It's not that difficult. Because hers repeat. So if you had to pull out a color or two, you know, you could even use that as the heel if you need to. So I'm always really pleased with her efforts in the sock department. And Cranky Big Bill does a nice job of cranking out socks. We have had him create 72 stitch socks with sport weight. And they make a nice, tight, firm sock. And I love it. And he was, you know, he worked with me. I mean, I emailed him back and forth. And I sent him when he was having a sale. Sometimes he has a sale where you can get, like, you can buy 10 and get 1 or 2 free or something like that. He does that. So that was one of the things I got. And I had mentioned that I had placed an order for pearls. Well, I needed some more sock needles because, you know, who doesn't need more sock needles? Because they're all on socks that you're not knitting right now. But I wanted to make the little snow dress for my great niece. The one that Yarn Harlot made for her granddaughter. And she made the little sweater for her grandson. They were so stinking cute. So stinking cute. But I told my niece that I would not knit her anything that she could not throw into the laundry and not have an issue. So I did not buy Knitting for Olive materials. I said, well, if it knits up on a DK or worsted weight, I was going to get something that I know will last and will be good for throwing into the wash and So I got some Barocco Vintage DK. And I got just the same amount as they would have said otherwise. So I got 3 skeins of the blue. And I can't remember what this colorway is. It's dungaree. I got dungaree. Then I got, this one is called 2138. I don't know why this one has the words dungaree on it, but this one does not have it. But I think it was like evergreen or pine or something like that. And then this one was called Snow. If I remember correctly. Snow Day. Snow Day. So that's going to hopefully get on my needle so I can give it to them next year and get it done and in my queue. Yeah. So those are the 2 things that I got in my mailbox this year, acquisitions. I'm really, really trying not to acquire too much yarn, which is going to be difficult when I go to VK Live. Now, I have set aside some cash for that because I am doing a no spend January, which means that you spend on all the necessary things, but you do not spend on your wants. But I had already made plans for this trip long time ago, I think in September, before I even thought about a no spend January. So yes, I'm going to cut it back, but I am not going to be completely not buying at VK Live. So you should be getting a video from me. I'm just going to post it as an accessory onto my, as an additional video on my Knitting Concierge. And I'm going to have to do that with the one for McKinney Knittery. I can't figure out how to attach it. And I know that there are ways to do it, but I didn't have the time or the bandwidth to do my adequate research. So I think I'm going to go on to like Skillshare or Creative Bug, because they have some things where at the beginning of the year where you can go in for like 7 days and look around and take some classes and stuff. And then after that, you can decide whether or not you want to become a regular subscriber. So those are the 2 things that I purchased. I just wanted to show you something. I think I might have shown you this before. But I'm going to be getting these out at VK Live. They are my little knitting what do you call those things? Not progress keepers, but but you know what I'm talking about. So I'm going to put little things on the top of there so that you guys can ask for them when I'm at VK Live. And I'll have them with me in my bag there. The next thing is, I was hoping to actually get to this month, but I did not. It is my Triesta out of Letlopi wool. And I'm planning on finishing the yoke before I leave. Maybe even just power through and try to get it done before I go to VK Live. And that would be nice, right? I have a few days. I'll probably be knitting the sleeves on the plane instead of the hat. But yeah, I'll start doing this one here. Now I'm making this a long sleeve one because it is so warm. This is Letlopi. It is made for Icelandic weather. it is going to store a lot of heat. So I'm kind of hoping that it's cold when I go to New York, so I could actually wear it if I have it finished. But I am on row 20 of the yoke chart. So I do have, the yoke chart is 38. So I have 18 rows left to go. Actually, I guess you could say 19 rows because I'm not finished with that one there. So stitch markers. Stitch markers. Oh, okay. And I should show you some of the stitch markers I got in my little Firefly kit. You get 20 stitch markers and 5 progress keepers. And they were so cute. Look at this one. This one is one of my favorites. It's a stitch marker, but it's a berry. It's a cute berry. And then and here's another one. I really like the ones that had color on them. There's a squirrel stitch marker. Can you see it? And at the end, the last day, oh, you've got to see this one. It's a skunk. It's so cute. It's a skunk. And then the last day was, interestingly enough, the fox. Which shouldn't have been that surprising because there was a big fox on the front of the advent calendar. I did enjoy it. It wasn't terribly expensive. I think it was only like 60, 70 bucks for the whole thing, for all of the really cute stitch markers. But some of them were not colored very well. Like this one is a rabbit. And it took me a while to figure out that the little pieces on the inside where the stitch marker was attached to actually had the animal that it was. I was trying to figure out, this is an owl. But I think you see what I'm talking about. And this one is really pretty. It's a bird. It's a bird. But I thought it was really fun to open one up every day. I thought it was a nice way to have something other than yarn as an advent calendar. So that's, I thought it was pretty fun. Anyway. So yes. So my Triasta is back on here. And I think that's pretty much where we are at the moment. Oh, I did want to share with you. So I was watching Fruity Knitting. I'm a patron of Fruity Knitting. And on the Fruity Knitting, they had Charlitte Stone. And she has created 2 books now of colorwork socks. And I was listening to her and it was just absolutely fascinating. I really enjoy colorwork. So I thought, and I've never really done colorwork because, colorwork can get a little tight and you need it to be stretchy. And she made the most poignant remark. And she really, really listened to her test knitters. And she went in and she, half of her test knitters, the sock was too tight to get over their foot. So she went to the Vogue Knitting Stitch Bible type thing and she looked up floats. And they suggest catching your floats every inch or so. And she said, oh, interesting. Because most people are catching their floats every 3, 4, or 5. I catch them on a 5 usually, unless there's like 8, and then I'll catch it on a 4. But she said, and it just blew my mind and made me want to knit some of her socks. You could skip. If it's an inch and you're knitting 9 stitches to the inch or 10 inches to the stitch, that is an inch. And you would have this long float in there, and it will make your socks stretchy. And so she was like, yeah. So she started telling people in her patterns to not catch the floats so quickly, but to let them go for, 9 or 10, even 7, 8, 9, 10 in there. And then she was talking about her books, and I'm thinking, I'm trying to be more frugal with my purchases since I'm going to VK Live, and then I'll be going also to Rhinebeck this year. I wanted to, but then she made this statement, and you might be able to get them at the library. And I'm like, I have a library card. I could go to the library. This is her first book, Charming Colorwork Socks. And I'm going to do a little book review. So she has them organized by type. If you'll see, she has food, the great outdoors, animals, celebrations, crafty animals, and good flower power. So she has several flowers in here. So, and those are all a picture of all of the socks in this book. So many socks. The first one, when I opened it up, I came to this sock. Right there. I thought, oh, how cute. Because I always like to make a Christmas sock, like a holiday sock during December. But it doesn't necessarily have to be holiday. I mean, these are not Christmas socks. Let's face it. These are not Christmas socks. But they were made in December. But I thought, oh, how pretty this sock is. I really liked it. I thought that was cute. And then I thought, oh my goodness. And then I saw this one. It's a chicken at the top and an egg at the bottom. And it's called Eggs for Easter. But one of my really good friends, Cheryl, who crochets, and I did teach her to knit, but she prefers to crochet. She's so good at crochet. It just blows my mind. I thought I might knit her a pair of socks. That would be cool, right? I knit her a sweater when we went to Rhinebeck. So socks would be easy after that. But I thought, oh my God, chicken socks, really? And then I was looking through and I saw these. Mushrooms! Little toadstools! I thought, so cute. And it has a little Latvian braid up there. How could I not? I'm like, oh my goodness. Now I have knit Latvian braids before in class with Susan B. Anderson, but I don't think I've knit a Latvian braid since. But the directions in here, because that was was like, oh my God, I want to knit that right now. It's made with rustic yarn. So she knit it with, she knit this one. It's called Forest Walk. She knit it with light DK weight yarn and Rowan felted tweed, which is a 50% wool, 50% or 25% viscose, and 25% alpaca. So there is some stretch in it, but it is a little bit more of a rustic kind of a yarn, as you can tell. It's got that little halo to it. And that came in 50 gram skeins. Well, I have some yarn in here, and I'm just going to knit it out of what I have. It probably won't look as rustic because I don't, but I do have the sizing. Let's see, it is DK weight, and so she talks to you about that, and makes them in DK weight. But I was thinking that I could adjust the repeat and make them into regular socks that I would wear more often, because DK socks are great for like if you go hiking or things like that, but not for every day here in Florida. So I wanted to maybe make it with fingering weight. So I was thinking about this. It has the colorwork chart, and it's worked over 10 stitches and 26 rows. So each of the toadstools is 10 stitches. And I thought, that's not a bad choice. So I usually make myself 68 socks, and I could use sport weight socks or fingering weight. Fingering weight, I would probably go up to a 70 and go into, and yeah, I'm gonna have to figure that one out, but I do want to knit that in the, oops, sorry. Don't want to be like, oh, and another one was so freaking cute. Look at this. It's oranges. And it's called Vitamin C Socks. I'm like, oh my gosh. And her directions are extremely clear. When I read the thing about the Latvian braid, I was like, oh, okay, I could do that. Cherry socks. These are called and this one has an eye of partridge heel. And it's called Cherries on Top. And I was thinking that if you were really concerned about catching floats or anything in with your toes or anything in the sock, you don't have to put any of the color work. These are striped here, and there's a little color work at the toe. She does that quite a bit where it's not got any color work here. You'll saw the toadstools didn't have any color work there. But then she does have some that have all over color work with like lice or things like that. She does make use of some duplicate stitch in some of them. So I don't know which ones she did the duplicate stitch in, because none of the ones that I was going to do or looked at to do had the duplicate stitch. But she talked about that in the fruity knitting, that she made the little eye for one of the birds with duplicate stitch. The other book that I was in the craft section, so I picked up rope sewing, zigzag rope sewing projects. I wanted to look at the different ways of sewing them and get a little bit more detail in making different different sizes, different shapes, And I wanted to have a little bit of background knowledge of how wide to make your zigzag stitches, where they're making the colors, the either with stitching or with fabric like I did. And I did stitching as well. I thought it was really interesting, this book, because it shows you how to make different kinds of flat bottoms. This one is more of this one was a placemat. So it showed you how to make a placemat flat by cutting your rope into equal pieces and then seaming them together with the zigzag stitch. There's another copy or a picture of what it will turn out to be. I thought that was very interesting. This does not take a lot of thinking, should I say. It's really easy. Once you get the idea of how big the zigzag stitch needs to be, excuse me, where to source your rope, and it talks about the different kinds of rope in here and why you want certain kinds of rope over other kinds. Here's where she was talking about different kinds of rope, and she really recommends, and then she also told you why you would have the different rope sections, because they're sturdier. And she showed, oh, I should have marked it before. How the different ropes hold up over if you want them to stand up. And so she put some weight on it, and she showed how they compressed, and how the one that she recommended, which was the cotton braided rope that she started with, it worked real well. And I thought that one was enlightening. Oh, my basket fell down. To do the whole thing. She has pictures in here to help you so you see what she's doing. I did not know that you could get it like this, but I'm very excited to buy one. I'm very excited to buy one and make several things. And remember, when we make 250 subscribers, I will be putting in my subscribers and choosing one for one of my rope bowls. So it'll be one that you can put on your table. So yes, what she suggests is a cotton solid braid rope. And she tells you why, and she tells you the reasons why she chose that. And I thought this was really good. I got it from the library. I think that I've been following Michael, Mychal, on Instagram, and he is a librarian. He was a librarian in California, and now he's the resident librarian of PBS. And he is just a bundle of joy. I hope he realizes that, because he does have some anxiety issues and depression issues. And I'm here to tell you, he is just so pleasant to listen to on the internet. But he is really advocating for libraries and librarians, and using your library, and using all of the things that they have at your library. Several libraries have where you can check out sewing machines. They do laser cutting. They do all kinds of things. One in Stuart here in Florida. Stuart is about 50 miles that way north. the library has a craft library where you can borrow things or do the craft there. They have sewing machines you can check out and weaving looms you can check out and all kinds of things. And they had a 3D printer there and all kinds of things. Now I checked into my library and I don't think that my library here in Palm Beach County has that, but I did not check all of the library and I did not check at the main library, which it might be there. So yes, I've rambled on quite a long ways since I haven't spoken to you since beginning of December. And hopefully I'll get to you again right before or right during my trip to New York. I'll be posting both the video, this video, and the video for McKinney Knittery along with this one under a different separate thing. But use your library, try out some new crafts, be multi-craftual. And Knitting Concierge signing out. I hope you enjoyed our time together and I'll look for you later. Bye.